What is up, guys? Today we're inside of Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, and today I'm going to tell you guys which unit is the best inside of the tribal faction. Now we're going to go in order of the way that they're listed. So the least pricey to the most pricey, and we have 50 clubbers, which is $3,500, and we're gonna put them against something ranged to start us off. So we're gonna do the archer, and we're going to do equal money because it's only fair. So we're just gonna put about 3,500. I don't think I'm actually going to. Oh, never mind. I will be able to. So just 25 archers versus 50 clubbers. And as you can see, the clubbers are kind of getting wrecked, and that's because I actually have the cheat on that makes the ranged units fire faster. So we're just gonna turn that off so that way they don't just win in 2 seconds, because that was not exactly fair. So we're just going to redo that. So now they should only fire one shot, like that, okay? So now they're not going to fire 1,000 shots at once. So they're just going to slowly march up to them and then hit them with sticks that they found off a tree. Okay, so yeah, they destroyed the archers because of the quantity advantage. So it appears that since they're cheap, they do pretty good against the ranged units. Now we're going to see how they do against melee units. And I don't know if this is going to be as well, because they're facing off against Squires, which are knights with a sword, or knights in training, I guess. And there's still a lot of them because they're also cheap too. So it appears that the clubbers, for the most part, are getting wrecked. These two groups failed, and then that group failed apparently as well. I was gonna say it was doing good, but then it wasn't doing good. So we just have one left, and now he's not he's not alive basically. So the clubber, it does good against the ranged units, not the melee units, it appears though. So it's average. It's good for rushing or just using as a distraction. But next we're going to use the protector. We're actually only going to do 2,000 worth of them. And we're going to face them off against the, what can we do? Let's do the fencers. So we're going to start off with a melee unit, and the only part that makes me feel like this isn't going to be fair is how the fencers back up. But we're going to give the protectors the quantity and money-wise advantage. So, yeah, as expected, they kind of died. They're not really meant to do damage. So, only actually 3 of the fencers died out of all of them. So, yeah, it's not supposed to be used against melee units. However, if we take a ranged unit, let's just take a basic one, like again the archer. Let's just line them up. We're not even gonna have to be fair. They'll have more cost. But as you can see, most of the protectors didn't die because the arrows hit the shields. And we're going to just watch this again, but as you can see, although he did die because one of the arrows snuck in, the other arrow actually got stuck in the shield, which is the main use of the protector, which is why it's extremely good against ranged units. Now, like I said before, they don't do a lot of damage, so if you just have them by themselves, it's going to take a little bit to win against ranged units, which is why mainly this unit is used also for rushing, and then you have melee units behind it that you're protecting with the shield, or you have ranged units that you're protecting with the shields. Anyways, yeah, it's pretty good. It's the basic shield unit. Next we have the spear thrower. Now, this is also kind of just bland. There's not really anything else to it. We're just gonna put it against a bunch of halflings, and we're gonna see how it does against that. So it's 44 halflings versus spear throwers, and I don't think this is actually going to go well because of their poor accuracy and their slow reload rate. So as you can see, pretty much all of the halflings survived. Only 5 of them got hit by the initial volley of spears. So it does not do well against quantity, and as you would expect, if the melee units get close, it's not the greatest either, because then its accuracy is just even worse. So obviously, don't use this against a lot of quantity, and don't use this against melee units. It's pretty obvious that you're not supposed to do that, but just in case you forgot, there you go. Anyways, we're going to next do the archer against it, which is another ranged unit. I know that I'm just using the archer like every single term, or time I mean, but there's not really a better ranged unit. So, as you can see, only 2 archers died. Actually 3, one was just hiding behind the other archer. So there's only 2 spear throwers left, and a lot of ranged units left. So, yeah, they don't do good against ranged units either. However, I'm going to put them up against the king, because their one good thing about them is that unlike most of the other ranged units, if they could actually hit, that would be very cool, but they do a lot of damage with a single spear. So this is kind of like your mass damage ranged unit. So if you have an extremely high health enemy, then just use the spear thrower, as long as you have the ability to trust their aim. If you do not trust their aim, then don't use them. But as you can see, the king only took out like 5, and he died. So yeah, use this against high health enemies that are melee, and put a distraction in front of them. Otherwise, it's kind of useless. Next, we have the stoner, and the stoner is kind of unique, and I'll show you guys why. We're just going to do, we'll do the headbutter as our melee unit. So I know that it's not even, but they have rocks that aren't all that accurate. You might be seeing a trend here that they aren't all that accurate. So it appears they got destroyed, as you would expect, because they're ranged units, and ranged units do not like melee units. So yeah, don't use them against melee units, and as we're about to find out, they're not the greatest against ranged units, you would think. However, they're actually pretty good, because their boulder acts as a shield, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So again, I know that this isn't fair, but as you can see, the arrows travel, and as you can see, the arrows hit the boulders, but the unit didn't actually take damage. So as you can see, if we control it, no health is lost. So yeah, use these against ranged units that fire slowly with short projectiles. However, don't use them against mass quantity of those units, apparently, because they didn't do that good when there was a lot of archers. It's a 4v4. I don't know who's going to win. It appears that the stoners have an extra 2 people, and that guy got a collateral. So that is one of the other special things about the stoner. Its projectile can actually go through other units. So what we're going to do is we're going to line up some protectors, and we're then going to put like 3 stoners, and I know that this isn't fair for the stoners at all, but as you can see, it also hits the shield and still kills the unit. Now I'm going to restart that and only have 1v1, so that way it's closer to fair. It's still not going to be all that fair. Also, I do not know how that archer is over there, but as you can see, the stoner is going to throw his boulder, maybe, there we go, and as you can see, it hits the shield, and it knocks him over, but it also kills him, because it can go past the shield, which is a really cool thing about the stoner. So if you have shield units, then this is basically your counter. Next we have the Bone Mage, and the Bone Mage is kind of unique, because it shoots spikes up from the ground at a close range. So we're going to have a group of melee units, and you're going to see what's about to happen as soon as the first one strikes. As you can see, only 2 of them struck, and like half of the Squires were dead, and then the others struck, and then they won. So now we're going to just have that small group, and then we're also just going to have a few scattered around. And then we're also going to delete the ones that we do not want on red team. So we have a bunch of Squires, and this is the only bad side of the Bone Mage. It does not do well against single targets because it doesn't do a lot of damage. It just does enough damage that way it can kill basic units in one hit, but not enough damage to be worth against single units. So if you have melee units in a group, or any units in a group, then this is pretty much the unit to use, because then you have the AoE effect, and they're pretty much all dead. But against melee units that aren't bunched up, not the greatest. Now archers, they kind of just stand there, so they're just gonna shoot each other if I bunch them up. So as you can see, the archers kind of just took out most of the bone mages before they even got close, and then they finished them off again before they got close. So don't use them against ranged units unless you also have backup for them. So yeah, on to the second to last unit, which is the Chieftain. Now the Chieftain, to be honest, it really isn't that great in my opinion, because it's kind of just a better version of the Clubber, but a lot more expensive as well. So it does more damage, it has 2 weapons, but that's really it. It has a little bit more health, but it's not too good. Yeah, they won. Not really much to be said about this unit. They do good against melee units, and we're just gonna put them against ranged units now. Again, there's not really much to say about these units. As you can see, 2 of them just died from the arrow volley. Only 1 is remaining. Will he be able to survive the next arrows? No, he will not. As you can see, he only took a few arrows and then he died. So yeah, don't use them against ranged units. Next we have the Mammoth, and I'm actually going to keep these archers here and then just add to them right now. And the Mammoth is unique. He's a lot bigger of a target, and he's a melee unit, and apparently he does not like arrows at all. Okay, so we're going to make that a fair fight now, and we're going to have it be equal value, or about equal value, and we're going to see if it's any different. Nope, it's not different. Okay, so do not use the Mammoth against ranged units. That's something that I actually didn't know, even though I've actually been playing this game for a while. So, yeah, don't use him against a lot of ranged units. Against melee units, though, he's actually very good. And you're going to see why. Although he is a bigger target, which makes it a lot easier for him to get hit by ranged units, he has a charge, which makes him get into battle faster. He then scatters units around with his attack, and then while this is all happening, whenever he moves his feet, that actually creates a small area of effect attack, as you can see by the dust that are going near his feet whenever they hit the ground. So yeah, he's kind of area of effect. For the last thing that we're going to test out with him is we're going to see if he does well against high health units. As far as I know, he doesn't really do that good against them, because the scatter doesn't do all that much damage, and neither do the area of effect stomps. It's just that he has a lot of health, so he can withstand the damage. But he did not really die. He didn't win against the kings. He didn't even kill a single one. We're just gonna put him against 1 this time, and then see if it works better. So that happened. He can also knock units over, which he's really good at doing for some reason. So yeah, if you want to delay, this is also kind of a good unit. So it appears that yeah, they're not really doing anything. Okay, so the king still won. So yeah, don't use him against high health units. Anyways, for the final rating, I'm going to give what I think is the best units and what are the worst units. So the Clubber, it's not that bad. I would say that the Clubber, Protector, and Spear Thrower are all tied for last because they're kind of just basic. They don't do all that much. It's kind of like a rock, paper, scissors game. Some beat others, others don't beat others. The Stoner, it's probably in second to last place, so 4th place. Chieftain, would be third place. Bone Mage is second place because it's unique and useful, and Mammoth first place. Anyways, that's going to be it. Everybody, peace out.